Hi everyone, it's Mary Jo. Welcome back to my channel, Made in Heaven Tarot. Happy Friday. I just got home from work a little while ago and I ate and I wanted to get right to this reading for you. With Mercury in retrograde, it took me like forever to upload the other videos, so I don't want to take a chance of that happening. So I'm doing the full moon lunar eclipse reading that's going to be in Aries on Sunday, the 27th. When I shuffled the cards to do this reading, I asked Spirit to give us a reading based on the full moon lunar eclipse. So what I'm doing with this spread is I pulled the world, and the card behind it is the Hierophant, and then I reshuffle the deck and I pulled 3 cards. And one is going to represent the waxing moon, what we can do more. One is going to be the full moon, the things that we keep doing, and then will be the waning moon, what we need to do less. I found this reading online, and that was for Streetlight Tarot, and she gave credit also partially for the Eclectic Tarot, which is a great website. If you ever want to learn about tarot, just go ahead and look them online. It's AECLECTIC Tarot. But anyway, let's get to the reading, because I asked for the reading for this eclipse. Now, even though today is not the eclipse, today is Friday, I asked for it with reference to the eclipse. Now, we are feeling the eclipse on the 24th, 25th, depending on what hemisphere you're on, just before and just afterward, even a couple of days. So even though in the eastern part of the United States, we're going to feel it like around 10 o'clock at night. Other parts of the world are going to feel it differently and see it differently. And it is considered this blood moon. People say, oh, it's a blood moon. What does that mean? It just means that the way that the sun, the earth, and the moon are lined up, the sun is casting shadow over the earth, and the moon is like hiding behind it. I had one of my kindergarten drawings here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Like I did last month for the other eclipse, just to show you. So you see that the moon is obscured by the earth. And the sun's light is reflecting over depending on what hemisphere that you're in. So depending on where you are, you're either seeing the dawn or the dusk reflection of the orangey red sun coming, and it's going to hit the moon. So it makes it look kind of red. Last year we had this occurrence, and it was called the pink moon, if you remember. I think it was in April of 2014. But some of the things that I looked up for total lunar eclipse, things that they talk about, like we had talked about in the solar partial eclipse that we had in the new moon. Here we have with the total lunar eclipse, you want to eclipse deep-seated wounds from your life. You want to see the beauty of our uniqueness. And that's a very Aries thing, and this one is in Aries. Then we want to feed our harmony and unity, which is Libra. And Libra is the polar opposite of Aries. Aries is the I am in the zodiac, and Libra is the we are in the zodiac. They're polar opposites of each other, but they align with each other, and this is the Aries moon, full moon. Then we have transcend old programs of beliefs. This is really going to get good. Wait till you see these cards I got. I love this stuff. And then quantum leap from old into the new. Again, it still ties into these cards. I'm not kidding you. All right, so I pulled the cards, and I looked at the dates for these cards. So we have the World, which is Saturn, the Hierophant, which is represented by Taurus, the Two of Swords, and I was even doing a reading before, and the Two of Swords came up, and I looked in my book to see what does the Two of Swords tie into. The Two of Swords is the moon in Libra. Hello, we're in Libra. And the dates it ties into this card is September 23rd to October 2nd. So today's the 25th, and the reading I'm asking for is the 27th. So it's tying in spiritually right to that date. Okay. And then the Six of Cups is the sun in Scorpio, and that covers November 3rd to the 12th in astrology with tying it to the tarot. And the last card I got was Strength, which is Leo. Okay, so the first card we get is the world, and that's kind of our significator we're working on. This is a worldly thing, what's going on with us, or even the world and global consciousness, okay? So what do we want to achieve? That's our ascendance, that's our transcendence. The world is where the Fool ends up in his journey. Remember, we've talked about in other videos that I've done, we are the Fool in the tarot. It is we who are on this journey. And our ideal goal is at the end of the journey to reach the world, to ascend, to transcend, to achieve whatever it is that we're climbing to achieve. And this can happen over and over again in your life because we have different pinnacles and apexes we try to, or at least strive to, achieve in our life. You know, like I want to be a famous musician, or I want to be a great teacher. I want my PhD. I want to get married and have 4 kids in the house with the white picket fence in the country. You know, whatever it is, we all have different things that we desire, and they change as we grow in life and achieve them. So the world is that culmination, all right, before the Fool takes that leap again and starts all over again. The world is that culmination, that you're there, you're whole again, okay? And then the Fool in the journey after reaching the world sees that they're right back where they started from, at the edge of the cliff that he almost fell off of because he was almost not paying attention. He was so foolish and young at the time. And now in knowing and feeling confident from experiencing everything that the Fool did to the end of the journey, the Fool just smiles and leaps off the cliff, because that leap is of faith now, because he's gone through it all. He's not afraid anymore, and he soars. He flies to new heights until he's up with the stars, you know, and then it's just he starts all over again. So that's kind of what the world card is representing. And so you have a little backstory on the world in the tarot. Then we have the card next to it. Very interesting. It's another major arcana, just like the world. This is the Hierophant. It's number 5. And I've talked to you about this number 5 in other videos if you want to go back and watch them. The 5 has this undeveloped energy. The 5 wants to go somewhere. You know, if you think about it, it's rocking back and forth. And I've said to you before, do you want to fall on your face? Or do you want to hold your own and go with the flow and rock back and forth? This is energy that's looking to develop and go somewhere. So it can represent uncertainties, things you're not clear on. Well, I can do this, I can do that. You know, it's going back and forth. So that's the number 5. But with the Hierophant represents, this is interesting, all of those things in our life that we're spoon-fed from childhood to adulthood, till we leave this place, as being right or wrong. Your churches tell you what's right or wrong. Your religions tell you what's right or wrong. Your governments tell you what's right or wrong. Your parents tell you what's right or wrong. Blah, blah. It goes, and your boss, everybody, you know, everybody tells you what's right. And kind of like swallow that medicine every day. Like, you know, it's that jagged little pill like Alanis Morissette talks about. You know, and you swallow it whether you like it or not, and you just take it, okay, just let's get it over with. But this card, what we're talking about with the world here, and what we need to eclipse here, is old dogmas that don't serve us anymore. They were for maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3, whatever it was years ago, but it isn't now. And these powers that be that are controlling us or dictating to us what we should and shouldn't do as traditional are limitations. They are walls that society builds around us. Okay? And brick by brick by brick, they built this wall. And we're kind of caged into that, in that society. With this card, it's saying it's kind of time to break down. There's all this uncertainty in the world, and even with us, it's time to break down these walls that we've been caged into. And you know, we know the traditions, we have the value sets, but it's time for us to change. Okay, Saturn is those rings around Saturn, are those boundaries, those limitations. Okay, Saturn is that teacher, gives us lessons, helps us to advance to the next level. But Saturn is necessary for us to evolve. Okay? So with the Hierophant here, we're talking about the old dogmas and old ways don't serve us now. The way the governments have been run. Healthcare, schooling. You know, children don't even learn cursive anymore. So, wow, they can't even read the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, these major important documents, signing their own name. It's taking their identity from them. I saw on Facebook someone posted their child had written their name in cursive, and the teacher in red put, "I told you to stop writing your name in cursive. When are you going to listen?" So it's like you're stripping our individuality from us. Your signature, when analyzed, tells you so much about yourself. With us being forced to fit into that box, they're taking away from us our individuality, our artistic talent, our expressive selves. So that card is saying it's time to tear down those walls. It is time to elect new dogmas, or you could just get rid of dogmas and start all over again. The old ones were, and maybe served a purpose for the time that they did, or they didn't, and we have just been letting them tell us the same thing. So to put it in a smaller little snapshot of your own life, let's just zoom in here about you, okay, and say, okay, my world, here's my world. What's been going on in my world that everybody's been telling me I need to do? And I've listened and I've done it, even though it didn't make sense to me. I have my own ideals. I have my own feelings about these things. What is it that has got to be retired? And literally, is it time for you to retire? Is it time for you to stop doing something over and over again? Is it time for you to stop doing something somebody else has been telling you is what you should be doing? Like growing up, maybe you were told you shouldn't be a musician. It's not a noble profession. Or an actress. You know, someone in the arts. It's not noble. You'll be starving. You'll have nothing. Yeah, but maybe I'll be happy. And who says I'll have nothing? Those are naysayers. Okay? This is time for you to start looking at your own little world and decide what people have been telling you all along that isn't really working for you needs to stop. And though you're grateful to them for whatever they taught you, whatever you learned, those lessons, like Saturn says, it's time for you to ascend and start stepping outside of that box. Take down the wall brick by brick and set yourself free. Okay. Now, the first card here is with the Two of Swords. All right. I got my little drawing here again. It's so silly. But anyway, so we have the waxing. This is saying, what do you need to do more? And this one ties into the dates that we're at right now, between now and October 2nd. So, what do you need to do more of, right? I got to do this one more time. Sorry. Now, the Two of Swords, you see she's blindfolded. See all the clouds. And you have the moon. So we see the clouds and the swords, remember, are air. So it's thoughts, it's words, it's communication. Oh, yeah. Mercury's in retrograde right now in Libra. Okay. And that makes sense because with retrograde, you're going back and trying to think about, you've been having all this time to work on between now and October 9th, you know, since the 17th of September. Mercury's saying, okay, let's go back over what you didn't get done, you didn't say, you didn't express. And let's look at that, okay? So with the Two, this ties in so well. The Two of Swords is looking at, you haven't talked about the situation, or you haven't thought about the situation and communicated a means of result for it. It's time to clear the air. See all those clouds? They're obscuring your view. It's time to clear the air. Talk about it, think about it, get mental clarity, get it out of the way. The full moon. Ooh, we're going to full moon. And this is your subconscious thoughts. So something has been eating away at you that you haven't been doing anything on. Maybe because of the restrictions there like you have with the Hierophant. Because you have to think about it. These are our society's leaders. So whether it's literally like your teacher, your parent, the priest, the dean at your school, the CEO of your company. They're not people you usually go up against. And even if you try to, you feel like you're going to suffer a consequence. And I get it. Believe me, I get it. But you know, as a collective, we need to start to stand up and be fearless, because maybe we've been passive for too long. There is a way for you to communicate what you need to communicate. Now, since this is covering till the 2nd, that you need to do more. So it's kind of saying you need to start thinking about this now and preparing for what you're going to say and what you're going to do about this. Now, even though the person is blindfolded, we don't see their hands. So we don't see that the hands are tied. So the person could take the blindfold off and see the situation for what it is and what's going on. They're keeping themselves blinded here. They're kind of like at a stalemate. You know, they're not really sure what to do. Or even maybe if you do know what to do, you feel helpless, that you can't speak up. You can't clear the air with this person. Maybe this person is so obstinate or distant that you feel helpless, that you can't clear the air with them. So I could understand why you see like you're at this stalemate. You know, it's kind of like you're going to have to make a blind choice in that respect. If you can't, you know, don't worry about taking the mask off. You know, even blindfolded, what the heck is going on is bull. And you feel like you can't do anything to clear the air. Realizing that you're at this kind of juncture of being at a stalemate. You know, it's saying that you need to think about another way out of it. You know, there are stars in the sky there behind you, though. You know, the stars mean have hope, right? Keep wishing on your star. Just know that everything is going to come through for you. Okay, but it's time for you to do more with what you need to make a blind choice. Sometimes you just have to that leap of faith like the fool does. You know, and even in Indiana Jones, the one with the Holy Grail, when he's at the impasse and he has to get to the other side and he doesn't see any way to go. And he kind of just grabs his chest, holds his breath, and takes a step forward. That's the fool, that leap of faith. And he lands right on like a straight road of stone, and he throws the rocks on there, and now it kind of shows the way. But that's kind of like that leap of faith where you sometimes have to make a blind choice, one way or another. There's a duality going on here. The 2 is that duality. So it's not developed to that 3, which is the result of the choice that you make. So it's time to move forward on that. Now with the 6 of Cups, we talked about this is representative of the Sun in Scorpio. It covers from November 3rd to the 12th. And we are looking at what we keep doing over and over and over again, that we have an eclipse from our lives. Even though we're planting those seeds on the full moon, on the new moon, we talked about we don't change our way of thinking and what we're saying and our energy and how we feel and do. We're not going to get results. Now, with the 6 of Cups, 6 is the balance, okay? 6 is that number of like family. It's the number of Venus, and we're in Libra. Libra is justice. That's Venus rules Libra. So we're talking about that feeling that you feel nurtured, loved, everything in your life, your family, your friends, everything is like the 6 looks like a womb. A 6, like we're protected in there. With this card, you have the Cups, so this is your emotions. Usually it talks about nostalgic times. I love the kitty cat in the front, the little tabby. But you have clear skies, etc., and all the cups are full with all bounties and abundance. Innocent childhood is there. So we're looking at here, keep doing. What do you keep doing over and over again? Okay, that makes sense. You keep doing the same thing over and over again because it feels like it's nostalgic. It's old memories. It's the way you were brought up. It's the way you were raised. You think back on your childhood. Well, that's the way it was when I was a kid, and my mother said she did the same thing when she was a kid. My grandpa did this. Now I'm going to do the same for you. You know what I'm saying? It's that nostalgic feeling, that carrying it on and on and on and on. Well, it doesn't always feel good. And since this is the Cups, and we're talking about balancing our emotions, it's saying that the things that you've been doing all along here are all because you're tying into the old ways that you were raised, that you were told is the way it's supposed to be. That's that nostalgic kind of feeling there, you know, being passed on from generation to generation. All right, so what this card is saying, it's time to change that up. Again, it's all tying into this. Now, with it being November 3rd to 12th, this card represents the Sun in Scorpio. I'm going to say that Spirit is saying by that time, you're going to have the clarity to make the blind choice. You're going to see it for what it is. The Sun is our clarity. The Sun is a luminary, as is the Moon. But we see things completely differently by the same light of the Moon and light of the Sun. It looks different, okay? So with the Sun in Scorpio, you probably have that clarity. And the cups are the water sign. Scorpio is a water sign. Scorpio covers life, death, regeneration, transformation. So that's a good thing to know, that between that period, the 11th of November, the 3rd of November, excuse me, and the 12th, you'll probably have that epiphany that you need, the clarity, or at least see the results, so that the old ways of the way you were feeling are going to be released from you, because now you have the idea to put into place what feels good for you. Okay, and with the Strength card, remember this is the number 8, they're saying. In the traditional tarot, they show our beautiful maiden with her hands in the mouth of the lion. And the Fool comes along and sees her, and he's distressed because he sees this maiden with the lion, and he's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, let me go and help her. But then as he gets close to her, he sees that she has shut the mouth of the lion, and the lion surrendered and his tail's between his leg. And he looks at her and he says, how did you do that? And as she looks at him, he sees her eyes, and he could see why the lion gave into her. You know, the beautiful, loving peace in her eyes. And she says, well, I asked him to do it, and he was happy to. So it's a gentle assertion. Sometimes it's feminine wiles to get your way. But it's that blending together of energies that you both give and receive, and both in the end get what you want. So with this card saying, with the waning of the moon, what do you need to do less? Well, you need to do less of what they've been telling you to do, our government's been telling you to do. Maybe you've been too passive. I mean, we all have been little puppets to our governments, to our religions, to our corporations, to all the things in society that have been controlling us with fear, like dangling the cart before the mule. Oh, if you do this, I'll give you a raise, I'll give you a promotion. People aren't getting pensions anymore. 401ks are falling apart. You've worked your whole life for nothing but for them. You know, this is a card that's talking about, yes, strength, but maybe what you need to do less of is being submissive. There are times this card calls for surrender and submission. This is saying the opposite, to do less. I don't read in the reverse. I could, but I choose not to. And when it needs to be something on a lower frequency, I'll tell you. And this is saying it. This is saying be less passive. You might have to be a little aggressive right now with Aries, where it's positioned, and here with Libra, and this is an Aries full moon. Aries is taking charge, and Aries the initiator. Aries the first sign of the zodiac. Aries the baby there. Got to get their way, but you know, isn't very patient. So you mix it up with this gentle energy. The lion is Leo, strength. It's a sister brother for a fire sign. Okay, and the lion with Leo is ruled. This card is ruled by Leo in the tarot. Leo shines. Leo is the pride. You know, he's got all his females at his feet. You know, I'm the king of the jungle. This is my pride. You know, he's got to look like he's the best and top dog all the time. So you're blending that energy here with more gentle way of the maiden there, the blended energy to get what you want. So maybe you need to be a little less passive, a little more aggressive, and step forward in your own strength. Now this is the number 8. 8 is strength, it's movement, it's courage, it goes quickly. 8 on its side is the lemniscate, which we've talked about. It's infinity. You always were, you always will be. Your energy just keeps going and going and going. We are also in the universal year of 8. When you add 2, 0, 1, and 5 is 8. We are in the universal month of 8. When you add 9 for September, 2, 0, 1, 5 is 8. And you know what? The day of this eclipse, this super moon, blood moon, lunar eclipse that we're not going to have again for 500 years because it's the 4th of these moons since 2014, the Tetradon or something that's called. I'm sorry, I know for sure. If we're alive for this, how courageous these souls are. We're here for this change. This is what we're here to bring forth, change. The rest of the people don't want to be here. We'll leave in a mass exodus, you know, all these different floods and everything else that's happening. That's because their energy doesn't want to be here. We courageous souls that are here for the message, the movement, and it's all about a peaceful way of rising above, not against. But on the 27th, when you add the 9 and the 2 and the 7 and the 2 and the 1 and the 5, it adds up to, when you combine the numbers, to 8. So we have this 8 universal year, 8 universal month, 8 universal date, and they're saying here, an 8 again. So this is a very powerful configuration here. It is always what you do with things. It's just like a therapy session. You can walk out of the room with nothing or take one thing and throw the rest away. It's up to you. This is what Spirit has to offer, and I hope it does enlighten you or help you. And remember, there are times a reading like these on the internet might not make sense to you in your life, and you're ready to switch off. But hear it through, because you know what? We're all psychic. We're all intuitives. We're just unconscious right now and sleepwalking. Now, as we're waking up and becoming aware, the message might not be for you, but I ask you to remember what Spirit is telling you in the readings that you listen to, everybody on the internet. Because even as things unfold in your life, remember the cards and what Spirit's saying, because you might have that aha moment and go, oh, that's what she was talking about in that reading. Makes sense. And even if it doesn't for you, keep your eyes and ears peeled and open and listen, because maybe somebody you know is having a conversation and you're hearing what they're saying, and you can relate these cards to them and say, hey, you know what? I was watching this girl on YouTube the other day. She was doing this reading and blah, blah, blah. It didn't make sense to me, but you know what? You are the channel. You are the messenger. We all are. We're all interconnected. We're all here to help each other. So think of that too. When can you be the messenger for someone else? So I hope you have a great weekend. And I hope you enjoy the eclipse. Hopefully where you are, you'll have a nice view. Every freaking time we got something going on here, it's either raining out or it's cloudy. I've been missing out on all of these beautiful stellar events. I have to go and look at images on the internet, which thank God for that, or else I'd never even know what it looked like. But I hope that you have a great view of it and that you're feeling good and you see these results afterward. I have not been sleeping at all, and I've been having severe pain in my body, and I've been researching on that, and it talks about some of us are feeling these crushing, compressed feelings in our bodies. We'll know that'll be over soon. Okay? Some of us are very biologically timed into the clock of the earth and the universe and the cosmos, and you feel things differently. So you can have your cranky pants on maybe, but just know that you won't have to worry about them. You'll be able to take your cranky pants off in the next few days, put on your happy pants, and feel good again. In the meantime, I wish you the best. I always wish you the best. And thank you for tuning in, subscribing, liking, and sharing. All right, this is Mary just saying bye-bye.